I just remember feeling like a real loser. I think the thing that stands out for me was even moving to LA, right? I had just lost the show on BET. I didn't have a job or anything that was based in LA. I didn't have family, and I was in a relationship, but I knew that I needed to hit the next rung on the ladder. I just couldn't figure out where it was, right? I'm in New York and I'm like doing all the things in New York, and I felt like I was doing the right things. I felt like I had the talent, but talent isn't the only deciding factor or contributing factor to people's success nowadays. And so I knew in my heart of hearts that I had to leave, right? So in addition to leaving this relationship and leaving, I'm from Jersey, born and raised, leaving this area that I'm very familiar and comfortable in, I was also leaving my son behind. And that was the toughest part about it all. It was just like, damn, my little man, he gonna think I abandoned him, and he gonna hate me, he gonna think I'm a deadbeat, all of these different things, right? And it'd be one thing if I moved to LA because I had something in my possession, if I was coming for an opportunity, but I was coming to create opportunity. And I think for a lot of people in my life, my family, they didn't quite understand it. And when I got to LA, I found a roommate on Craigslist, which is crazy to think that they weren't like a psychopathic killer or nothing like that. But I got here and I told the universe, yo, I'm submitting myself to the work that I think I'm challenged with, that's been bestowed upon me, the tasks that I feel like I'm here for. And I got here. My first year here, actually, I was still working in DC, so I was flying cross country multiple times a week, back and forth, LA to DC, just showing the universe like, look, I'm in LA. I plan to be in LA. This is where I need to be. I know this is where I need to be. If I gotta make money in another state just to be able to provide for myself to eat in LA, then I'm gonna do it. And I did it for the first year, back and forth, 2-3 times a week to DC.
So after I got sent home from American Idol, that was 18. Yeah, pretty much my not my love for music, but just my enthusiasm for it was just gone. I was pretty much, my dreams were crushed, and I was just like, yeah. And then I got pregnant, and then I wind up, struggling really bad and being on Section 8 and food stamps. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty much, I'm not gonna be a singer.
When I dropped out of college the first time, I'm not listening. I think I know everything. I'm fresh 18. I'm smoking. I stopped playing sports. I lose my coping mechanism. Beyond that, when I was 12 years old, I was making a lot of transitions. I suffered from chronic eczema. I had trauma from not having a dad, single parent. I just met my dad this year. All of these things that I didn't really understand. But as I was learning about it, you feel me, I had to figure out my personal traumas and figure out why I was doing things. My biggest example is, why was I smoking weed, and why did I feel like an overcompensation to have sex with a lot of women? You feel me? So it was to fill a void. I was mentally defeated, mentally, emotionally defeated, spiritually defeated too. Gave up on my belief of God damn near.
But I just remember feeling like really down on myself and really low on myself, especially because you FaceTiming your son. He was so young. He didn't want to be talking on FaceTime. He wanted to be next to his dad, playing and talking. And there were things that I missed. First days of school, some birthdays, and I ejected myself from his life because I was heavily involved when I was back on the East Coast. And so I, feeling like a deadbeat, feeling like I abandoned my offspring was the toughest thing that I had to overcome.
I pick up smoking and I'm not taking care of my skin. My skin was breaking out. I'm in a new place, feel me? And I'm just like, man, life is terrible. I had to come back home and revalue myself, but everything has a silver lining, because had I not did that, I would have never found my passion for acting. I would have never tried to go play football again at a JC. And in the midst of that, right before that, auditioned for a movie, Last Black Man in San Francisco, which all leads up to right now, you feel me?
But life has a funny way of sorting itself out, I went from feeling like that, having that experience with my son, to a few years later when I'm in LA now, like I'm really in LA, like I'm really a part of the city. I'm moving, I'm shaking, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And my son's mom calls me and she says, hey, I need you to take him the rest of the way. I need you to help him cross the finish line. And not only have I had an opportunity to make up for lost time, but I've had an opportunity, most importantly, to leave the kind of imprint on my child that I always dreamed that I would be able to do, so that he can watch how I'm still dream chasing and figuring out my life, because it's still not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but by virtue of him seeing me go balls to the wall with everything that I'm aiming for, he's the beneficiary of even my attempts at my dreams. And then in addition to him, I get my nephew. My sister calls me and was like, hey, I need help with Josh. Can he come live with you in LA? And to go from the cat who was on Craigslist looking for a roommate, no job, no money, no car, no nothing, to go from that to being able to provide for myself, take care of myself, to now being able to take care of these 2 young men in addition to myself, man, I think that it's the thing I'm most proud of.
Yeah.
What was the point where you realized you could do it? Like where you came out of that?
When I dropped medicine and realized all the labels were reaching out to me. And it was just crazy how it came back full circle for me. I was like, what the heck? Like, I did not expect that. So, I mean, I guess, I feel like God, he had the plans for me, and I took detours because he gives us our own free will, and I made my choices, and I had to live with the consequences. But no matter what the detours were, like, I'm still right here where I should be. Like,
my biggest thing to resolve depression is to catch it. You got to know yourself, of course. So you got to analyze. My thing is if I'm sleeping in a little bit too late, if I'm feeling kind of groggy because I'm a high energy person, you got to identify your triggers too. Yeah. If somebody start talking about like, oh, I'm not fazed by it now, but like somebody might bring up a 2-parent household, or somebody might bring up a traumatic event. Like, feel me? I lost a lot of friends this year. I lost like about 8 people that was real close to me. People 2 that was involved in the movement all the way. So it's hard. You feel me? So when I think about that, I identify my triggers. I be in my emotions. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's of course it's okay to be happy. But especially as men and black men, they tell us not to feel emotions. So that time where you might have got hit or hurt, and they said stop crying, you wasn't only putting those emotions down, you was kind of censoring your happiness too, because it's just emotion all around. So you got to identify your triggers. On top of that, you have to live within your coping mechanisms, and you have to figure out, okay, what are my things that keep me on point?